I'm great. This is nice to be here. You still avid fan.
Vaguely. I remember a scene I had with Kate doing something with a gun. And, of course, the great scene where she hit me over the head with a breakaway bottle and didn't break away. It was wonderful. And we had a director, Henry Kaplan, who was always in a hurry. And Kate had just come on the show, and she was real new at it. And she said, well, Henry, how do I do this? What do I don't want to hit it. You know, it's just, darling, just hit him. Just hit him. Don't worry about it. He didn't like me anyway. So it came time, and this show was shot, it took a half hour to shoot it. And at the time, back then, you were really on a time schedule. You couldn't, now today they can cut the show and put it together and they take their time with it. But back then you had a certain amount of time to shoot the show, and then you had a commercial break, and you came out of the commercial and went right into the actual performing. So anyway, she was very nervous about the whole thing, and she had this big jug that I'm just throw her in this room and lock the door, and I'm about ready to seduce her. And I turned my back and she hits me with this thing. But as I said, she was real nervous about it, and so she pulled back and she got me across the top of the skull with just the base of the jar. And it didn't break away and put me in the hospital for 8 stitches or so. And I didn't sue. I could have sued. I could have been a millionaire. But it's the only time Dan Curtis ever paid attention. He was down there so fast. He was just so worried. Yes, sir.
Did they have to stop taping, or did they just fade out to commercial that was the end of your scene?
No, they stopped taping, and then they picked it up. They held the tape, and they picked it up later. But it got him real nervous. You know. It was fun. It was a great show to do. It was a wonderful show to do. You could get away with a lot of stuff. And there was some good performers in it. And it's nice to be a part of something that's lived so long. No pun intended. It's like my agent.
Yes, he did.
Why am I so concerned about what is going to happen to me? If anything happens, I am in total control. I am the only living thing here in this room, and I'm the only one that has a mind that is functioning. You are a disembodied head. That's all. And whatever powers you may have, they will soon be mine. And you will do my bidding. And to think that I was such a fool to be afraid of you. What a complete fool. God. It's just a bad dream. That's all it was. he wanted to tell me what was going to be.
I didn't realize there was a laugh track with that. Too much. I know, that's funny, funny. That was pretty advanced technology there back then, you know, to do all that stuff that they
But when the
do.
show started, they didn't do much of that.
Oh, they had no idea what they were doing.
Right, they didn't stop tape at all, and
No.
then later it looked like they were able to do editing and
Mhm.
got it to effects more.
I came in the last year of the show, so they had made quite a large stride since then. But we had one scene of where I remember they hired. Oh God, this was classic. This is just. This is like live television. They had 13 wrestlers dressed as pirates, and these guys came in and they had raked one side of the stage to a fake graveyard, and they were all lying in there, and they were covered with dirt. And given a cue, and the camera tracked down the center of the stage, and on the other side was the house, Collinwood?
Yeah.
I'm sure you're wrong, I've been in so long. And a given cue, that roof was supposed to cave in, and the thing was supposed to tremble and all that stuff, and all these 13 ghouls come standing up out of the graveyard. So Leela Swift, who was directing at the time, who had a voice that could shatter glass. I mean, she could never just talk to you. Sounding like this. She's always screaming at you. And she was just awful, especially with a hangover. So you come in, and we were sitting around there waiting for this big epic to take place, right? And she was getting all, and the tension was getting bigger and bigger, and she was, of course, getting more frantic and more frantic. She gave the wrong cue at the wrong time. And these 13 guys stood up. The house didn't come down. She was screaming. They started leaving. They're still shooting this. It's still still going on the air. And they're just kind of walking around like, what did we do? I mean, should we go back into the holes? And then Collinwood crashes down. And the whole thing was about a minute and a half too early and too late. It was just terrific. It was great. One of the fond memories. I laughed. John Carlin and I. Look at the color in that.
Do you know on Turner Network?
What happened last night?
Oh, I'll get a residual for this.
Do you? Everything has changed. You must accept that. I was good enough until he came around. Now listen. I want you to go to the stables. He'll be there saying the ride. I told you that everything was different now.
Nasty. Blew half my head off, but if I'm so.
What do you think you should do? No, I don't.